100% know with every fiber of my being that this was not a natural disaster. This was a planned attack. There are many, it's a 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 equation. You cannot call me a conspiracy theorist for being a critical thinker. Did you know that the CIA, the corrupt CIA, invented the words conspiracy theorist as a way to gaslight people for speaking up on the truth?
But Twitter Files journalist Michael Schellenberger tweeted yesterday, spokespersons for the World Economic Forum say the Great Reset, eating insects instead of meat, and you'll own nothing and be happy are conspiracy theories, but they're not. In fact, all of them originated at Davos and from the World Economic Forum's own website.
In 2019, the UN and the WEF signed an agreement that outlines ways the organizations can work together in order to more quickly implement Agenda 2030's goals. So they're back in action with the UN.
I can tell you, Department of Planning, DLNR, DBED, Housing, all of these agencies, and I'm not saying to you directly, but you're here representing these agencies, therefore, it is your responsibility to tell the truth. Each one of these agencies have signed on as stakeholders for the redevelopment of a smart city in Maui. I'm asking you again, who has signed on?
So I'm sorry, but I asked for testimony pursuant to the agenda, and there's nothing on the agenda about smart cities. And if we could also refrain from yelling.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, and I'll provide clarification.
You know what's interesting is there was a time, and it wasn't very long ago, like 5 years ago, during the peak of the Trump administration. Was that 5 years ago? Yeah, the middle of the Trump administration, where you could vaguely talk about the powers that be and they wouldn't care. Their main thing was, as long as you're not mentioning GS, you're not mentioning any specific names, you're not talking about the Clintons and their body count and the Clinton body count, and you're not, now you could say it kind of, I don't know. But today, as long as you're not mentioning GS, the Clinton body count, which is weird because they don't care about the Clintons anymore, I don't think. They're the old people that are kind of moving out and getting ready to die, they're like, whatever. However, today, if you just say elites, that is, alarms go off. That is a word that makes them perk up and want to investigate your platform. I don't know why. Because 5 years ago, they didn't care about the word elite. It was vague, it was ambiguous, and they didn't care, right? That's why I use covert combos. So what I'm saying is that they were wise to the things going on because they were kicking off truthers and people that were bringing this to your attention, but it was for specific things they were saying. They were, yes, they were wise to it, but if you kept it vague, they wouldn't say anything. So if you just said the word elites, they wouldn't say anything. It was only if you said specific names, specific entities, specific shadow governments, and you talked about, you used very specific acronyms and started going up the food chain a little too far. They didn't like you talking about the Rockefellers. They didn't like you talking about other groups, but if you just said elite, it was no big deal. And a lot of influencers that talk about things that are going on, the going-ons of the swamp, of the globalists, it's all the same thing. And people don't want you to graduate out of that mindset of the swamp because that's the right-left paradigm. But the swamp is controlled by something bigger. Once you start talking about that something bigger, when you say today the word elite, like I said, 5 years ago, it didn't matter. When you say it today, they know that everybody knows because we have wised up, right? Since Fantasy Island and all those players, right? they know that there's a connotation, there's an association with the word elite, and that people know, right? Grassroots America knows what that means, and they don't want you even saying that. So you guys remember what I'm about to show you has a lot to do, well, put it this way. Imagine, if you will, Agenda 2030. We know what Agenda 2030 is, right? And I got to be careful. Who knows? There's certain words they just don't like, and you never know. But then you just got to go for broke. So we know what Agenda 2030 is. A lot of us do. Go look at the United Nations charter or their plan they've mapped out for Agenda 2030.
Some of the world's wealthiest figures are currently in the Swiss town of Davos for the World Economic Forum's meeting that started yesterday. Many online commentators have claimed that the event involves a group of elites manipulating global events for their own gain. According to AP, experts say what was once a conspiracy theory found throughout the internet's underground has now hit the mainstream.
The theme of the meeting in 2020 was called The Great Reset, which envisioned how changes could be implemented to build a more sustainable future. This theme has been referenced by many well-known names, including Fox News' Tucker Carlson and Sandy Hook denier Alex Jones, who largely view the plan as an elite conspiracy to consolidate world power, implement control over society. But Twitter Files journalist Michael Schellenberger tweeted yesterday, spokespersons for the World Economic Forum say the Great Reset, eating insects instead of meat, and you'll own nothing and be happy are conspiracy theories, but they're not. In fact, all of them originated at Davos and from the World Economic Forum's own website. Now, WEF is deleting those, of course. This article that was reportedly on the website in 2016 has since been deleted, says, welcome to 2030, I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. I wanted to talk about this because, so this is getting the kind of mainstream media spin of, oh, look at all these people criticizing Davos and the World Economic Forum. They're spreading misinformation and conspiracy theories. If you're upset about this, you are yourself a conspiracy theorist. It's all just conspiracies. And yes, if you get into the granular details, are some people saying things about the World Economic Forum, they're not representing its views correctly. I mean, it doesn't even have views. It is a gathering of heads of state and business leaders and influential people from all over the world who have a variety of different agendas and don't internally agree. So there's not one agenda they're putting forth. But some of the things they talk about in terms of environmentalism, in terms of state surveillance, state capacity, the kinds of governments run by these very people, what they'll be able to do to you, the kind of social credit score system, tracking, kind of nudging. It's for your health. It's for your own good. It's a very kind of soft, dystopian, progressive.
Some of you might be thinking, well, why did he show the World Economic Forum when he was talking about the United Nations? Isn't Agenda 2030 and what used to be Agenda 2021, and they didn't make it. They didn't make it to 21, and they're not going to make it to 20. Well, maybe they'll make it to 2030. I don't know. But why did we show WEF? Why did I show Claude Schmalles Willens Volzensweiden Stepsenskopen? I didn't make the hand gesture. Don't worry. No. They're bad people because that's who they are. They're really those folks that make the hand gestures. They like to call conservatives that, but they might as well just do that. Anyway, Charles Schwab.
Not Charles Schwab.
Klaus Schwab. All of you brothers and sisters from Germany.
Just pull on your chain.
So why did I mention WEF? Why did I bring up the video? And I am going to react to that a little bit more. We're going to get more into that video that came out 11 months ago with Rising. I like Rising. They're a pretty good deal there. But anywho,
here's the deal.
At one time, the World Economic Forum claimed to be impartial and that it was not tied to any political, partisan, or national interests. And you know why? Because until 2012, it had observer status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. When it was revoked by the United Nations, and it is under the supervision of the Swiss Federal Council. Well, that was a while back. That was around 2012. But guess what? They came back. In February, I found this. This is dated February 22nd, 2023. The plan, what is the UN agreement with the WEF? The plan was adopted in 2015 by the UN General Assembly, the main policy-making arm of the intergovernmental organization, which includes all member states. In 2019, the UN and the WEF signed an agreement that outlines ways the organizations can work together in order to more quickly implement Agenda 2030's goals. So they're back in action with the UN. So let's keep up with the new kids. The new kids on the block are WEF. Pay no attention to the man behind the Iron Curtain. It is WEF we are looking to. Once upon a time, it was Agenda 21, right? Because they wanted by the year 2021, they wanted all this to start taking place. Well, that just goes to show you how unrealistic they are, how they jump the gun on things, and they just don't get it right. So don't be fooled. Don't think that Satan has everything under wraps and that he is like the perfect manipulator and master planner of all things in the dark, because no, he screws up. He's a screw up. He's not perfect. He's not going to get what he wants. There's a pastor, a female pastor, I forgot her name. You guys know who I'm thinking of. She's older and she talks about these things. She put out a video several years ago where she's on stage and she's saying Satan's going to get his minutes of fame, and it's only going to be a couple years, and then the Savior's going to come. So everything that these elites and Satan and his henchmen, they're building up to something, it will climax, and then all of a sudden it will be ripped away from them. So their kingdom is not forever. But then they'll say the same thing about us. Well, your kingdom's not forever either. Satan says the same thing, that we just take turns occupying space. But that's not true. We occupy, we're in control, okay? We've always been in control and always will be. And we will have eternal life. Even these people don't qualify for sons of perdition. Let's get back to this. So you guys remember Agenda 2030, used to be 21. Imagine, if you will, that on a smaller scale in Maui. What we're about to look at, and much, much more, we're going to go into not just this infamous, very famous meeting that has been sectioned out in many different clips. You've seen it all over the internet. You've seen it all over the YouTube and other social media platforms. You see the sister voicing how she feels about Oprah Winfrey. That's very popular. I've had that on my videos. So this meeting that took place several days ago, this hearing took place August 29th, 2023, and the meeting was held at the Hawaii State Capitol. It has become very popular, and the agenda of this meeting was about Lahaina and the fire and Maui and much more that we didn't get into, that many others didn't get into, because we've been focusing mainly on the fire. But what you're about to witness is a smaller scale of sustainable development. Okay? I don't like sustainable development. I know the church has talked about it, but it's not the church that talks about it. It's the media department of the church that talks about it. Because you'll hear Elder Christofferson of the Quorum of the 12 get up and criticize sustainable development or Agenda 2030 and say, if you can't get morality right, if you can't get us all basically getting along, you've got this plan that you want to lay out. And he's basically saying this isn't God's plan. This is not the millennium. Only the Savior, Jesus Christ, is going to bring the true sustainable development and the utopia. But you guys are trying to map out something before you can even get your families right, before you can even get your children respecting their elders, and parents being involved in the raising and rearing of children. And you want us to have a utopia when we're all at odds, when you're getting everybody with your propaganda to be at odds? Baloney sauce.
Aloha. My name is Gary Cordery.
Pay very close attention to Gary Cordery's words. And then look at this lady. She's Hawaii's chief housing officer, Nani Medeiros. Pay attention to her. She's the one conducting the meeting, and she doesn't seem to want to be very helpful. That's what boggles my mind, is you got people like her. They're looking at these people that have lost everything like they're a nuisance, like they don't have a right to speak out. You're going to find out later what happened to her.
Lived here in Oahu since 1980. Father, grandfather. This is an emotional meeting. Nani, you mentioned a moment ago, this is not about Maui. This is absolutely about Maui.
I think it was earlier that Nani Medeiros, the Hawaii's chief housing officer, remember, that is her title, she actually stated, we had this horrible fire, right? She states in this meeting that Lahaina is not on the table for discussion. So that's why he said that. Thomas Jefferson stated, when government fears the people, there's liberty. However, when the people fear the government, there is tyranny.
And my concern, and I'm actually speaking to each of you sitting around this table. Each of you have a placard representing an organization. And I have a question before I actually have my testimony. By a raise of hands, are any of you participating in an event, in a restructuring as a stakeholder on Maui at any level, whether you're state, federal, private, or a private citizen? Are you engaged? Are you a stakeholder? Are you written? Is your name listed as a stakeholder of any of the redevelopment plans regarding a smart city? By a raise of hands, I would like to see a raise of hands. Because the information is out there. Raise of hands.
Oh, no, he did not. You did not go there.
He did. And I'm wondering if people are shaking in their boots. You're going to find out what happened to Nani later. I keep saying that. But Nani could be shaking in her boots right there.
I can tell you, Department of Planning, DLNR, DBED, Housing, all of these agencies, and I'm not saying to you directly, but you're here representing these agencies, therefore, it is your responsibility to tell the truth. Each one of these agencies have signed on as stakeholders for the redevelopment of a smart city in Maui. I'm asking you again, who has signed on?
So I'm sorry, but I asked for testimony pursuant to the agenda, and there's nothing on the agenda about smart cities. And if we could also refrain from yelling.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, and I'll provide clarification.
Sir, you're making everyone uncomfortable with your truth. We do not tell the truth here, sir. There is no truth telling here. Stop with the truth. Stop with the transparency and sit down, please. We're not talking about smart cities. We're talking about dumb cities. Dumb. The dumbs. Where the monsters live. The MK Ultra monsters. We want more of them. We want to raise more of them, sir. Please stop telling the truth.
Actually, do you hear the gasps in the room?
Smart cities is everything about housing. The idea that you're going to sit around this table, and I realize it's not on today's agenda, but the idea that you're going to sit around this table and make decisions about the long-term viability of sustained life on Maui without the people's input, I can tell you, is this a charade?
There are gasps. There are many gasps in the room. Many that are cringing. You know, when you're uncomfortable and you just want to get out of the room.
It is true. Try go to Hele Mai Maui 2040.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I have repeatedly stated we are not discussing Lahaina. Just to calm temperatures down. We will come back in 5 minutes. We're taking a recess.
Oh dear. What is how did he get in here? Has anybody talked to Oprah? We need to get a hold of Oprah. What's going on here? Call Klaus. Remember, he gave us, he said, if there's any problems, just hit that button.
Hit 9. He said hit 9.
Come on, guys. We got to get out of here. Recess. Oh, my goodness. This is why I started smoking again.
You're all responsible, and I would like to talk to you when you say that it's not true. I can tell you, Halime Maui 2040. Look at the stakeholders, and you're going to find all of your departments listed as stakeholders. Okay, I'll be right here.
So I went and looked into this, and this is what I found. Hele Mai Maui is what Gary's talking about, and it's a transportation plan to extend all the way till 2040. Their main focus is on transportation. They want to change the way we get around the island because of climate change and because of the rising population in the island. So I started thinking, Gary is onto something here, and I just want to find out what it is. So let's see what they had planned for Lahaina.
The West Maui Greenway consists of 6 segments, passing by destinations including Napili, Ka'anapali, Lahaina, Launiupoko Beach, and Olavalu.
Man, I can't wait to own nothing and be happy. Own nothing, be happy. Sounds like a beautiful thing.
The West Maui Greenway Plan sets the stage for the future Greenway development. The goals of the Greenway project are to foster community, bring joy, strengthen connectivity, promote safety and comfort, and ensure feasibility. The Greenway corridor varies significantly over its 25 miles. The Greenway may follow in-town streets or the highway along a separate path, or may travel along existing cane haul roads, train tracks, or flood control channels, and may feature amenities like access points that have seating, bike parking, and hydration stations. Community and stakeholder engagement took place throughout the course of the project in order to inform the project goals, the Greenway alignment, and the prioritization of the segments. Nearly 850 community members were engaged throughout the project. Greenway is the most densely populated area along the entire corridor. Passing through Lahaina to reach Keawe Street, the determination of the final alignment will be based on the timing of other planned projects in this area. It may include a Mauka alignment along the Cane Haul Road. Alternatively, the alignment may travel Makai along the sugarcane train tracks parallel to Malu Street. As the Greenway passes Pioneer Mill, the final alignment here will be determined based on other ongoing planned projects.
Keep in mind, this is just one of the projects they have planned for Lahaina. There's very, very many. That's why she said this will determine on future projects. Out of the many, many future projects, one of them is going to be housing. They're going to build a bunch more houses. And the reason why is because of the rise in population. I say just don't build any new housing.
Hence, let's get a head start on this and get this party started. Round them up, folks. Now we can rebuild.
And the population doesn't rise. That's just my opinion. But let's get back to what Gary might be implying. And that is that all these organizations had something to do with the tragedy. Or that they're taking advantage of the tragedy for their benefit, which I believe is what Gary's trying to imply here. I did find this statement on their website after these devastating fires, and I want you to read this. While we grieve with the community, we also understand the importance of time and space for healing. We are here to support you, and we will be ready to engage in the recovery process when the residents of Lahaina are prepared to do so. Your strength and resilience inspire us, and together we will create a brighter future for Maui. In this time of sorrow, please know that our hearts are with you. We are committed to assisting in any way we can as we navigate the path to recovery and restoration. It sounds to me like they got something out of their way, and now they can continue on with their development.
Once again, going back to the ends justifies the means. Do they think in their fake benevolent heads that they are doing a good thing? It's better that we kill some people, and hey, don't kill all of them. Take some of them and we'll make some money off of them in human trafficking. I don't know. Possibly though. But the whole thing is everyone's got their dirty little hands in it for their own dirty little reasons. And there's nothing benevolent, nothing pious about this at all. There is nothing reverent about this at all. You don't force people to live a certain way because you think that they're better off. We're not rabbits. We're not chickens, okay? They're basically treating people like we're chickens and we need to be kept in a chicken coop and fed and watered or cattle or sheep or whatever you want to call it. Yes, this is, and what do they call it? A very inconvenient truth. What happened with those fires goes back to what Gary was saying. He's not putting them, he's putting them on the spot, but he's not telling them directly, look, we know that this fire, we know that this was planned because we don't know. But if it was, we know that your dirty little hands are involved in it. Okay? We know that you have stakes in this. We know that it trickles down from the bottom to this meeting that we're having right here. And that's why you had the hymns and the haws and the gasps and the I gotta go and we're going to take a short break, a short recess. And that's what it comes down to. So even if Gary says, look, it was a wildfire, fine, but you guys are, it's just very convenient that you guys are quick to jump on it. And yes, this meeting, you want to talk about living. This meeting is all about how we're going to live in the future and coexist, right? Well, let's talk about what happened a week ago. This disaster that destroyed part. We're not going to put two and two together. Oh, look how convenient. Yes, we had a fire. It destroyed all these homes. We're not talking about the children. Lahaina is not on the table, yet we're talking about how people are going. We're talking about housing. You got to be out of your mind.
Listen to what the people have to say about this.
They're crying. Yeah, it's heavy right now. You should feel that heaviness because this was not a natural disaster. And I would like actually samples taken from the soil. You guys put the screen up. You won't let anyone see what's going on inside. But we know very well that you guys, as the third largest stakeholders, the state, do want that land and can take it when you deem it a natural disaster. And that is disgusting. And that is why I'm also here today, because someone needs to call that out. We wanted the samples right away. You guys stopped the people from going in. It's just awful.
Think of this as numbers for buildings, for money. What about the people? What about the families that have been destroyed by this fire? And for the record, I will say this. It was not a natural disaster. This emergency proclamation is a fall. And let me tell you why. Because all of the hearings you hear, all of the testimony you hear, all of the social media you hear, it connects the dots to what's happening in Lahaina. Lahaina was our first United Kingdom capital. Funny how all the common people were taken out in one fell swoop of a fire.
Hi, my name is Jessica Wertheim. I was born and raised in Haiku, Maui. I am a mother, and I am a child of this living, breathing earth. I do not consent to AI control. I do not consent to smart cities. And I 100% know with every fiber of my being that this was not a natural disaster. This was a planned attack. There are many, it's a 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 equation. You cannot call me a conspiracy theorist for being a critical thinker. Did you know that the CIA, the corrupt CIA, invented the words conspiracy theorist as a way to gaslight people for speaking up on the truth? I am here to protect the Mother Earth, where I came from. I don't care that I was born in Maui, okay? This is about the living earth and the people with good hearts, okay? This is not about division. This is about unity, and this is about coming together and fighting for the rights of the people. Climate change does not exist. You guys are modifying our weather, Okay?
Excuse
You
me.
are-
Okay, I appreciate your comments again. I do, but we really need to stick to the items on the agenda. It is
I don't care
11:10.
about your agenda. You know what? Your agenda can kiss my ass. Okay? Your agenda can literally kiss my butt.
Yeah, we're done. We're
Okay.
done.
Most Hawaii people don't believe the narrative that climate change caused this fire to happen and that it was natural. Also, the news doesn't talk about this, but we're still missing approximately 2,000 children. This is from the Department of Education, so this isn't even from anywhere else. This is straight off of their website. 2,000 kids missing. Now, I'm going to continue looking into this. I'm taking as much information as I possibly can. It takes a lot of time to make these videos, so I'll continue to make them, but for now I'm going to end it here. Thank you. Aloha. Please share.
And I will share, Anthony. Thank you to Anthony Michael Maui. Go to his YouTube channel. I'll leave the link. He made it possible for me to respond to this, to react to it, and educated us on a lot more that's going on there. Now, here's what happened to Nani a week after that meeting.
Word of Nani Medeiros' resignation came amid mounting conflict over the governor's emergency proclamation for housing and the suspicion of a state land grab after the Lahaina disaster. Medeiros, as the state's chief housing officer, has taken heat from critics who allege the emergency proclamation is unconstitutional. Several lawsuits challenging it have been filed. The governor maintains it's a new approach to tackling the state's chronic housing crisis. And in a statement this afternoon, he denounced social media and in-person attacks on Medeiros, even naming one of her most vocal critics, former Republican gubernatorial candidate B.J. Penn. A week ago, we spoke to Medeiros on Maui after she faced opponents of her housing working group, which is titled Build Beyond Barriers.
The idea that it is Nani Medeiros all alone making all of these decisions and so much power, it's absolutely not true. I'm not in charge of redeveloping Maui. I'm not in charge of redeveloping the state of Hawaii.
Governor Josh Green's emergency proclamation was signed back in July, and it intends to streamline development of affordable homes as the state's housing crisis worsens. But the proclamation has gotten big pushback, even more so amid the Lahaina fire, which left thousands without a home. Before taking the job, Medeiros helped to build Hawaii's first tiny home kauhale for homeless people in Kalailoa.
The governor issued this statement. Nani Medeiros is a truly compassionate person who has worked tirelessly to help create novel solutions to house the homeless and to build affordable homes in Hawaii, only to face a barrage of personal attacks in person and on social media from those who would rather tear us all apart rather than help Hawaii move forward.